You're going to have to excuse me if I'm a little suspect of this order from the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, this stand-down order. The Democrats have used the events of January the 6th. All of a sudden, they are concerned about violence while they ignored it all last summer as cities were burning across America. Now, they use that kind of as a genesis for this stand-down order, which within 60 days, each branch of the military has to go through a stand-down memorandum which looks for extremism in the military. Now, the problem with this, in part, is that it's not clearly defined. And if you look at some historical definitions of extremism, and say, for instance, in the Obama administration, this could be far-reaching. Joining me now to talk about this is military attorney Roger Maxwell. Roger, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
All right, you've expressed concerns about this stand-down order because of the lack of definition in it. Explain.
Absolutely. So, Tony, the big issue that I'm seeing is how Secretary Austin is really going about the defining of what it means to be an extremist, right? So I think we can all level, right, that something like KKK membership, something like white supremacist group, especially within a multiracial military like we have, is going to be prejudicial to good order and discipline. The
Correct.
question is, how far does that definition go, right? So we can hit the outliers, but where does the line come? And with this latest memorandum from Secretary Austin, the line's just not clear at all. I really want to point out to your listeners in particular where he's getting his definition from, right? And that comes from the Department of Defense instruction. In particular, the language of that instruction says that any sort of active participation that discriminates against, ideology, race, creed, color, sex are all prohibited. And like I said, we can all agree with that. However, it goes further, and it says any efforts that advance efforts to deprive individuals of their civil rights is also lumped under this definition of extremism. And given where we're at with certain Supreme Court decisions, how many members, particularly members on the left, define civil rights, this is far-reaching in my opinion.
So this, Roger, this could be, let's say you were a member. I'm a military veteran. I was in the Marine Corps. I also happen to be pro-life. If I have a pro-life perspective and I go to a pro-life event which advocates for the sanctity of human life, which advocates for the overturning of Roe v. Wade, would that be considered running afoul of this?
I think so, Tony. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, under this provision of this instruction, it says any activity that essentially counters somebody's civil rights. So because Roe v. Wade says, abortion is a right, well, then by definition, you're advocating against a woman's right to kill an unborn child. So I don't see how this definition of extremism under this Department of Defense instruction doesn't include that. Similarly, traditional ideas of marriage, ideas of biological sex, given the Birchall decision back in 2010, 2011, and then the latest decision saying gender identity is protected under the Constitution. Again, any sort of Facebook post, offhanded comment, I think, could potentially fit under this definition. And that's what's scary.
So, Roger, essentially you would be saying that the vast majority of the chaplains in the military would be considered extremists if they believe the Bible. I don't see how the untailored version that Secretary Austin is putting forward with this instruction, that's definitely correct, that a chaplain of a normal Christian persuasion would fit under this definition. So we talk about these ideologies. Let's say someone is pro-life. But what's the line? Holding the view acting on the view, contributing to an organization, reading the material from an organization? I mean, what's the line that these members will not be able to cross?
Right. So, and that is the caveat point, right, is that the instruction that Secretary Austin talks about, or that he addresses in his memo, essentially allows members to hold these opinions, right? You still have constitutional protections under the Constitution, even if you are a soldier, despite the fact that some of these are limited in some capacity, right? However, when you actually start acting upon them, and again, acting upon is a squishy definition. So I think that even something as simple as a Facebook post, something as simple as maybe a comment to a coworker that impinges on something like this, that is an act, right? And so you're advocating for a certain belief system that I think when push comes to shove, that it would be a technical violation of what Secretary Austin is looking for here.
Roger, I would think that in the military with this type of, this viewpoint, this could spread paranoia and fear among the ranks, thinking, somebody's looking over your shoulder to see if you said something or falsely reporting it.
Absolutely. And you're talking about how important camaraderie is in the military. Well,
right.
It's shoving a knife right through its heart.
Wow, frightening. Roger Maxwell, thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, we're going to continue to track this closely. Appreciate you joining us today.